Well, I'm fairly certain you understand how to make mashed potatoes. If not, I have a video, and green beans. But if you want the very best Salisbury steak with a mushroom onion gravy that is to die for, step into my kitchen. I'm making it right now. I'm holding back no secrets. I'm gonna give everything to you. Come on and join me. Hi, it's Grandma Roseanne, and we're going to make Salisbury steak. But I actually started the Salisbury steak a little while ago, and my camera just decided to shut off. Well, this is too good of a recipe just to throw it out. So I will tell you, all I have done so far is I took a half of an onion and I pureed it. Now, I did that in my food processor. If you don't have a food processor, just use a box grater, but use the smallest holes, the little tiny holes. Then in a dry skillet, I put this in there and I started to let it release the water. Onions have a lot of water in them. And once the water was released, I added a tablespoon of butter, and then I just started caramelizing the onions until they got to about this stage, just about like that. And then I moved them aside. So that's all that wasn't recorded. A lot of times I know it's me that did something wrong, but I promise you this one was not me. Now we're on to the mushrooms. And here I have 1.5 pounds of mushrooms. I have, I'm using a combination of portobello and button, and I just sliced them. I put in maybe a couple of tablespoons of oil, and I'm using the same pan because it's got a lot of flavor in it right now. And so a couple of tablespoons of oil, and then I'm letting them just brown. Now understand, the more depth of color you have in the mushrooms, the more intense flavor you're going to get out of them. So I'm going to release all of the water here, scraping off the bottom, getting the fond up into those mushrooms. And I'm going to let them just cook until they're a nice, beautiful golden. These are releasing a lot of water right now. And we do want that to happen. We want them dry. Well, first my video didn't record. And then I'm going on talking and carrying on here, and my propane went out. So I'm not quite sure where I am in this recipe, other than I know right now I'm sauteing mushrooms, and I'm going to get them very dark, because the darker you get the mushroom, the more intense the flavor becomes. So I have excluded all the water from here, and now I'm going to let them brown. So now I'll leave them alone for a few minutes. Now I'm adding just a little pinch of salt here. And right here I have the other half of the onion, and I cut this into slices, and I'm going to add that to the mushrooms just as soon as they're browned sufficiently. Oh my goodness, they smell wonderful. This is where patience comes in. You really do want to let them brown. And as you know, if you've watched the video, I don't have a lot of patience at this point. So I'll just tell you, in case you didn't know, a lot of you were asking, where the heck are you? Because I was not on vacation, but I had surgery. So it took me a couple of months to get back on my feet. But now I'm all good, and we are back to cooking. And while they are doing their beautiful thing here, I'm going to start adding the onions, because these have gotten beautiful at this point. And I'm adding some thyme, because I love thyme, and I love the fragrance, and I love just the delicate herb that it is. Got a stem in there, and nobody wants to eat the stem. We're going to start to build a roux. 2 teaspoons of flour. We've already got the extra butter in there, remember? I'm going to cook that down a little bit. Now I'm going to add 2 cups of beef broth. If you have homemade, all the better. I don't, but I'm using Better Than Bouillon, which I love. And I'm going to do this in stages. I'm not going to dump the whole thing in at one time. My kitchen got really hot, and I thought, why is my kitchen hot? Because I left the door open for my puppy so she could go in and out, and my air conditioning was not very effective with the door open. So I'm cooling down, and my house is cooling down, and the dog's inside. That has pretty much evaporated. Here's another little whisk. This is just a great sauce at this point, even if you weren't doing Salisbury steak. If you were doing a really nice steak, a flank steak or a T-bone or a ribeye, which is my favorite steak, and this could go so beautifully over the top of it. And when you do it in stages like this, when you add your liquid in stages, you are really infusing that broth into the mushrooms and the onion. This is like the same principle of doing a risotto. You just take your time, let it absorb, and it becomes so flavorful. All right, now this is my 4th edition of sauce. Now here is where you want to start watching it, because here is where you want to determine how thin or thick you want your gravy. So it's going to reduce, so just watch it. And then when you think it's at about the right consistency that you would like over your Salisbury steak, then you pull it off the heat. My house is finally cooling down. Good grief, it got hot in here quick. This is still a little bit thin for my liking, but it's probably a really good time for a taste. That's superb. That is superb. A little bit more salt. What's going on with my pepper? Well, and a little bit more pepper. Okay. Nailed it. Now I'm going to transfer the sauce and hold that up. Doesn't that look delicious? This is perfect. Oh, you can smell those mushrooms. Yes, I do believe I would make this sauce again just to go over a steak. I think that would be scrumptious. Now we'll put this off to the side and our gravy is done. All right, now we're getting to the meat portion of this recipe. I have 1.5 pounds of ground beef, and it's the 80-20. 1/2 cup of breadcrumbs. 1 egg, and I'm still complaining about that being a large egg. It's not a large egg. And the sautéed onions that we did earlier. We just needed to let them cool down a little bit, which they did just fine. Now here, now all of these obviously are going to be in the description below, so you don't have to worry about it. But here I have 2 tablespoons of ketchup, 1 tablespoon of Dijon mustard, 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce, 2 teaspoons of soy sauce, and we're going to mix this up a little bit. Oh, this is going to be so rich in flavor. 1.5 teaspoons of salt and 3/4 teaspoon of pepper. Now we just want to get this all blended in together. And just to keep this very moist, I'm going to put in about 1/4 cup of whole milk. Alrighty, now I'm going to divide this into 5 portions, or maybe 4. we'll make them hearty, 4 portions. And now you want to compact that ball. Because you don't want them falling apart. Now I have a foil lined cookie sheet. Ta-da! Helps with the cleanup. And you can do whatever you want on the shape of these, but traditionally they are in an oval. Traditionally. Does that mean you have to do an oval? No, it does not. And I am making these about 1/2 inch thick. And you do want them to be about the same thickness just for the cooking time. Now the recipe I'm using calls for a 400-degree oven and to cook it for 10 minutes and then to broil it for 5. I'm going to take it out after 10 and I'm going to temp it to make sure that it's cooked to where we would enjoy it, because it seems like 10 minutes is pretty quick. So I will let you know. Well, we are done. Amazing, absolutely amazing. Honestly, the fragrances are phenomenal in this kitchen. But 10 minutes to my liking was not enough. I put a temp in at 10 minutes and it was nowhere near done. I went 15 minutes and it temped at 145. I took it out at 145. So for me, that was good. Now I did turn on the broiler and I stuck this in the broiler for probably another 4 minutes, just because I kind of wanted it crusty on the top. You don't have to do that, but I thought it would be good. So I guess it's just time to plate it and let's see what we've got here. Okay, well, I think it's against the law to have Salisbury steak without mashed potatoes. So I went ahead and did mashed potatoes, and I love green beans. So let's take a taste of this Salisbury steak with this amazing mushroom onion gravy and see how we did. The best I've ever eaten in my entire life. Oh my goodness. That is delicious. This is one of those, when I find the recipe that I know I cannot top, I stop looking. I will never look for another Salisbury steak recipe. This is the one. The flavors, the juiciness, and what, I don't know if I told you about the cooking time. I went an extra 5 minutes on the bake, and then I popped it into the broiler for about 4 minutes because I want it kind of crusty on the top. I may have told you that already, I don't remember. So we have developed here an absolutely amazing recipe that I can't wait for you to try. And give me a comment, let me know. Let me know how it went for you and how your family loved it. So thank you so much. Ingredients below. Hit the like button, hit the thumbs up, hit the bell, hit whatever you need to hit to come back. Thank you so much. Thank you for staying with me for the 2 months I was out, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye. I am gonna eat this whole thing. Wow.